Okay, I'm gonna call us to order. It is 6:45. I will also admit I'm a little out of practice. It's been a little while. There are no citizens to make any comments. We've got two sets of minutes to approve. I will entertain a motion to
Wait.
Oh, sorry.
First we need to record who's here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Julie, if you could please do a roll call.
Yes. All right, JC Herman,
I'm here.
Martha Gaines,
Here.
Elaine Siegel,
Here.
Natalie Saley.
I'm
Tell me
here.
if it's wrong.
It's all right. I'm here.
How do you say your last name?
It's Salih.
Saley. Great. And then Aiden is not here.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, so into the minutes. Just as a reminder, that one from March 4th was the set of minutes that we hadn't gotten back from that meeting. So Julie went through and did it from the recording. And then the October 7th was our most recent meeting, which was so long ago. So nice to see you all.
It has been a long time.
So much and so little has happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I will entertain a motion to approve both those sets of minutes from March 4th, 2021 and October 7th, 2021.
I'll make a motion to pass the March 4th and October 7, 2021 minutes.
I will second. This is Martha.
Julie, if you could roll call us a vote, please.
Mhm.
I just want to say thank you, Julie, for doing that.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, it was fascinating. All right, JC Herman, do you approve?
Yes.
Martha Gaines,
Yes.
Elaine Siegel,
Yes.
Natalie Saley.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you. All right, we don't have any old business. The new business that we have on the agenda for our open meeting is making a recommendation to the Park District Board that they vote to officially adopt Juneteenth as a holiday. From my understanding and recollection, that hasn't been an official action yet. And that needs to be, I know it's federal, but it needs to like trickle down into, local government. Do I put that out as a motion then?
Yes.
Okay, so I move to recommend to the Ridgeville Park District Board that they officially adopt Juneteenth as a holiday.
Seconded. Elaine.
So I have a question. I have a question about that trickle down, notion of officially viewing it as a holiday. Other than sort of an official, formal, for the record, blah, blah, blah type recognition, are we proposing anything else like specific, like it should be, a holiday, like a non-working holiday, and if not, what other recognition would we want to see?
I think if we're recommending it to, the board that the Park District acknowledge it as a holiday, that would mean including it as a closed office day for observance. So I'm looking at the brochure right now. So on the third page of every brochure, it will tell people what days the community house is closed for holidays that we observe. And right now those include Labor Day. There's a Thanksgiving break, a holiday break, a New Year's break, and Martin Luther King Day. So those are the days that the office is closed for observance. So I feel like if we do recommend it, it's because we're asking for that same kind of observance. Because if not, we can recognize it just like we would recognize any other holiday that we're not like closing the building for. Does that make sense?
Right. Like I know that
in which case it's kind of like why recommend it? We can still observe, we can still like celebrate it, But if we're asking the park district to actually adopt it as a like official park holiday, then it feels like that's probably what we're asking, right?
We could
Yeah.
clarify what we're asking.
Right. I mean, that's why I'm asking. I mean, and JC, I think, was it you who added that to the agenda?
Yes.
Okay. So what had you envisioned for it?
I guess, more specifically, yes, that it would be, the park district would be closed just as the federal, now banks, all federal stuff is closed on Juneteenth, and I think the park district should follow suit.
Oh, I'm sorry, the 4th of July also. That's another one that we observe.
And Natalie, when we do, historically at least, events for the 4th of July, we do them, does it just depend on the year and which day of the week 4th of July falls on, and then we do it on a day leading up to the 4th?
No, we do it on the 4th.
Oh,
The
okay.
offices are closed, but we usually partner with, so like I still work. I just am not in the office, but we usually partner with the 4th of July Association, and we do games at the park. So there's like,
Races, I think.
yeah, there's like pie eating, and then there's like watermelon and different things. Families come, and it's like a 2-hour event. But the building itself is closed, and we don't run any programs that day.
Okay. So, I mean, June 19th in 2022 is a Sunday. Does that mean, I'm just double checking the calendar here. Does that mean that that Monday, then the 20th is going to be the federal holiday?
No, so when it's like a one-off date, like MLK or 4th of July, if it falls during a weekday, then it's observed. The building is only closed on that day. If it happens to fall on like a Saturday, I don't believe, I might need to double check with Brian, but I don't believe that we get an additional day off for that. You know what I mean? Like if it's on a Sunday, we don't get like the Monday off too. Because I know when we're planning for camps, like I think 4th of July falls on a Monday this year. So we pick camp back up on Tuesday. So we're just off that Monday. Now, when it comes to like the holiday break or Thanksgiving, then it is like we get the Thursday and Friday off for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Christmas is like, it's not Christmas Eve, it's just Christmas Day. And then New Year's, it's not New Year's Eve, it's just New Year's Day. And I don't know why it exists that way, that like Thanksgiving, for example, is a 2-day thing. But it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. We might need clarification from Brian in the meeting, because I know every time I do a brochure, I still have to ask him to confirm.
Well, I also realized, in this discussion that I was not super knowledgeable about how it's manifesting, that it's a federal holiday. And so I was doing some Googling, and what I'm looking at is from NPR from last June. And it says, Juneteenth is a federal holiday now, but what that means for workers varies widely. And this says stock markets open, post office open, federal courts, schools, banks, businesses, it depends. So, and then it goes on to more detail, and it just makes me think about, is the goal here that we are observing a holiday, meaning it's like offices are closed, or is the goal here that we're observing a holiday, meaning that we do something celebratory, and engaging with the community, either on the holiday itself or, on the day that makes the most sense for it, or both, you know what I mean? Because we could, of course, do both. And I think, like Natalie says, some holidays are like Monday holidays. It's just set in stone that it's like, a certain Monday in a certain month. Other days are going to fall however they fall, because it's about the number of the day instead of, pick a day of the week. And Thanksgiving, I think, is always a 2-day thing, just because Thursday makes it really easy to take Friday off too.
Yeah.
So,
I think the point of the observance is to, whether or not you know, there could be a year where we do an event on Juneteenth, and there might be an event, a year that we don't do an event. But the idea is that you take the day off to celebrate and observe it and be able to participate in events similar to like the 4th of July. Like we're celebrating the country's independence. We're not working that day. We're observing this holiday in this way. And like, if like, for example, the 4th of July Association didn't do games last year. They didn't have a parade. We didn't do anything. The park district didn't, because we don't typically do anything, but we will partner with them when they do. But we didn't do anything. I mean, it's special because it's COVID, but the point is to like spend the day celebrating the day. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of comparable to the 4th of July. I know that conversation has come up. I see on social media, you know, the past few years when it comes to like the 4th of July, that like some people choose to celebrate it and some people don't. You know, so I don't know. I think that was the point of the federal government choosing to observe Juneteenth as a federal holiday, to kind of treat it in the same way to celebrate that independence or that freedom day too.
So it officially goes into law this year. I mean, I think a lot of federal organizations last year observed it, but it's officially a federal holiday starting this year. And just like Natalie said, it's not, you know, it's not the kind that like, if it falls on a weekend, there's no paid holiday. So the first paid holiday will be next year, because the first one was Saturday, you know, that was nationally acknowledged. This year it'll be Sunday. It does not impact the markets. What's the official name for those people? The Federal Reserve is not a part. They did not take this on. So that's, though that part of the federal government does not take Juneteenth. I personally was thinking it would be more along the lines of like what Natalie said the Park District does for the 4th of July, where the office is closed in observance, but then we still do something to celebrate. That's actually the next agenda item, is what we want to do this year. Because I think both those pieces are important. I think acknowledging it, that it's important enough that the office is closed, and that also that, you know, we're doing something with the community. I think personally, to not only acknowledge the day, but to educate the community and ourselves, to be honest. I don't know a whole ton about it either, about why that day is so important. That's what I had in mind.
Yeah, I know we had tried in the past. We had to cancel something in 2020 because of COVID, but we were supposed to work with the anti-racist play date on a festival at Cayman for Juneteenth. I know that there was supposed to be a parade. I don't know if they were able to do it, but I know that like city organizations with the city, and then other like local, like independent organizations, either have or have tried to do some kind of like event. So, and we'll talk about this when we get to the next agenda item, but you know, it's possible if we come up with something that we want to do ourselves, that's great. It could also just be a matter of partnering, you know, with them, with the other groups, and like really kind of investigating that and seeing what opportunities are out there for us. But yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity for stuff to do.
Yeah, I
Another
think
thing
we
I'm
should be
thinking-
partnering.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, I think we should be partnering, and I think we should be consulting with other groups and see what, you know, what the Park District can provide that would be, you know, desirable for the community.
Yeah, I agree. I always lean heavily into partnerships anyway. So I think that's, I mean, I agree.
Yeah, I agree with partnerships for sure. If for no other reason than making sure we're not offering an event at a time when another event to celebrate something like Juneteenth, or in any other cases of, you know, other organizations in our community. I don't want to take people away from their event by having our own or vice versa. But of course, obviously, it's great to partner with other organizations doing good things in the community, period, too. But if we were to do something on a different day or time, and if it were different inherently in terms of what it is, for instance, there's a parade. If we did something that's not a parade, you know, a stationary event, I think that could work. So I think we would, you know, need to kind of brainstorm, look at the calendar. But to go backwards for just a second, the idea of having offices closed at Ridgeville for Juneteenth when it falls on a weekday could be a little problematic, because would offices closed also mean that if there are any camps running, that's a day that we don't have campers come? And
Yeah.
you know, I mean, we could, I mean, and that's part of what comes along with, you know, choosing as a country to celebrate and observe this holiday, is that it's a holiday. It's kind of like when the 4th of July happens, there's no camp on that day, you know. But I'm also just thinking of parents and how, you know, if they have to work because they don't necessarily get it off, it's a day that they have to figure out some other childcare. So, I mean,
Yeah.
to me, you know, except for staff who would have a holiday, which is great. I'm not trying to belittle that aspect of it. But in terms of what we're offering to the community, you know, it's not a perfect fit to have it be a day off given the time of year, because that's summer camp and that's like a big deal for us and a busy time. And to me, it's more important. You know, maybe I shouldn't say it that way. It's definitely an important element of observing Juneteenth that we engage with the community, that we help educate ourselves and others about what it is and why we're celebrating it, that we, you know, celebrate instead of just close the offices and it's a no work day, or, you know, a different work day, like you say, Natalie, because sometimes, especially in the summer, if things are going on at Ridgeville, but the offices are closed, it means people are still working. So I think Brian should weigh in a little bit here too. And I don't know really what the best timing is for that, because we can still vote to take this to the board. And then at that point, the board could talk to Brian about it, or we could talk to Brian before it's officially taken to the board.
I mean, we're just talking about a recommendation to the board. We don't get to pass that. So,
Right.
So that conversation will all come up, and it might not even if we recommend this in February, it might stay on the agenda for a month or two while they do some research and talk about it. But I think the point that you're making is valid, but I think choosing to observe it is saying this day is equally as important as the 4th of July. Like, which also falls in the summer, and people also have to and a lot of places are closed on 4th of July. So maybe families don't have to go to work, but as we know, lots of essential workers do. And it's prioritizing the celebration of Juneteenth above anything else, in the same way that we do with Martin Luther King Day and the 4th of July, which I think is important.
Also,
but again, it's just a recommendation. The board doesn't have to approve it. You know, Brian might very well say, no, that's a bad idea. And that's fine. But I think as a REDI committee, you know, personally, like, I support that. I support us recommending it and then leaving it to the board to decide.
I'd also like to add in there that in the 2 months of summer camp, currently the only day that summer camp closes is July 4th. There's no other holidays that fall in that span. So it would be one additional day.
Right.
That parents would know of ahead of time, right? It wouldn't be like sprung up on them. And then the secondary piece is that if camps are running, then that significantly limits what can be done as a festivity or an educational opportunity for Juneteenth, because both Cayman and the parks will be used. So that's something else to keep in mind, is like the logistical piece. If we really want to be able to do something for Juneteenth, we wouldn't be able to do it when camps are running. And Natalie, please correct me if I'm wrong, but.
No, you're right. And I think we can talk more about that too when we get into the next agenda item, because I have some thoughts on that, just in terms of us. There's lots of organizations within Evanston that I think the celebration of Juneteenth falls very closely to what the organization is and what they are doing in terms of equity and organizations that are specifically designed for like people of color, or like the anti-racist play group, for example. Like it makes sense that that is a big holiday that year that they want to do like a big festival for, and we have partnership abilities. So I feel like putting resources and offering space and different things to those kinds of partnerships for that day could be really important. Looking at the park district, and I feel like, you know, there will be a time perhaps where like it makes sense for us to do a standalone Juneteenth festival or celebration or something. And we'll talk about that, but I don't know what that is yet. I don't know if I will know what that is by this June. So I feel like partnering also gives us an opportunity to learn and experience with the rest of the community and see what people, you know, people need from us and want from us, and ask people like, what would you like the park district to do to celebrate Juneteenth, and be able to deliver that. Yeah, I lost my train of thought, but that's it. But again, we can talk about that when we get to the next thing. I'm jumping ahead.
Would we be proposing then that the actual holiday of Juneteenth, no matter which day of the week it falls on, is how we're observing it? And so if it's a weekday, it's an offices closed day, and if it's not, it would obviously be an offices closed day anyway on the
Yeah.
weekend. Okay.
Same as 4th of July.
Yeah, so I mean, right now we're just in the motion of recommending to the board that the Ridgeville Park District observe Juneteenth. Any other discussion on this?
No, I think we could probably do a roll call.
All right. I had motion to approve earlier as JC, and that Elaine seconds. Is that good?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Martha Gaines,
Yes.
JC Herman,
Yes.
Elaine Siegel,
Yes.
Natalie Silly.
Yes.
Great.
Excellent. Thank you. So then the next agenda item is discussing ideas for the acknowledgement of Juneteenth. I wish I would have put the acknowledgement and education about. Natalie, I agree with you with what you said. Especially without a consultant, we don't know what we're doing. I think well, I'm sorry, let me back up a little bit. I think in terms of doing something for Juneteenth, I think this essentially gets moved over to you and Tracy, right? Like in terms of planning and who, you know, how to kind of nail this out. You know, any ideas or whatever, you know, support that you need from us, obviously we hear any, you know, little bits that you want from us. I love the idea of partnering. I think that is absolutely the way to go for 1,000 different reasons. Because, you know, it's not something we've ever done before. We are not well versed in this. I think there are so many organizations, like you said, that are already, you know, in this realm. And I think that's supporting them and finding a way to help get their messages out and seeing whatever it is that we can do to facilitate what they're already doing, I think is a really great way to go.
Yeah, I can talk to, so something Tracy and I are working on right now is meet and greets with the alder people that have wards in our park district. The only one of the 4 that I actually know is Cicely, and she's resigning. So Tracy is setting up meetings for me with Jonathan, Peter, and Devon. So they might have some ideas. They might have some things that they're already planning for Juneteenth. So that's an opportunity to talk to them about their plans, or city plans. I know I've worked with Fuchsia in the past on a few different things. She might be planning something again for Juneteenth. And then is it Martha, help me, I can't remember her name right now. We had a couple meetings with her. She was doing a parade.
Kimon Hendricks.
Come on, yes, come on, thank you.
Yeah.
I can reach out to her too. She does a big Juneteenth thing every year. I know the parade was what she had been trying to put together. COVID, COVID. So I think just there is a great place to start. And I think for the first year of us wanting to, prioritize celebration of the holiday, I think a good way to kind of dip our toes in the water and start is by partnering with folks. So how do you guys feel about that? Or did you have anything specific in mind beyond that?
Partnering was exactly what I had in mind.
Great.
Well, and
Yeah, I think
Natalie, sorry,
Go
go ahead, Martha.
I think partnering is wonderful. I also think that that's the place to start. And once we know what else is going on, I think it will be really clear whether we are a good fit and welcome by other people, putting events on.
Yeah.
And if for some reason it's not a good fit or we're not welcome, and I don't mean to say we're not welcome, but you know what I mean? That some events are going to be very specifically whatever it is that they are, and we're either going to have a place in that or we're not. And then that way we can start answering the question of, do we do something of our own, and if so, what and when, or do we just partner? And either way I think is fine, but I think partnering is the way to start, because then we're not, again, like kind of planning an event that overlaps with somebody else's. That's not the right way to do it. So
yeah, I totally agree. And then just to kind of gauge the committee's interest in this, but like I'll write those emails and I will kind of test the waters and see where folks are at with their planning for this year. When I get some answers and I start figuring out some ways that we could partner, are you all interested or available to like participate in that? Whatever that might be. And again, I don't know what that is. Like, it might be we're a stop on the route of the parade, or we, supply some t-shirts, or I don't know, I'm not sure. Or we, host the anti-racism Playdate Festival. I don't know what that is, but like when we do events like that, I usually need bodies on site to help with like setup and management. So is the committee interested in participating in that? Whatever that means. It's a very vague question.
I would say for sure in theory, and then I think for me it'll boil down to what is the actual ask, and can I do that or not? But in theory, yes, for sure.
Okay.
Natalie, I absolutely am available. I also, if you feel like it would be appropriate, if you feel like you need support, specifically in terms of this Juneteenth, I'm also, if it works, with my wonky schedule, available to meet with people to talk about,
Okay.
connecting.
Thank you for saying that, because that's something else that comes up is like meetings and correspondence, and we are talking about like the middle of my summer camp time and concerts and all of that. So like it will be helpful to me if I have some support with an additional event potentially.
Absolutely. This is part of the reason
it feels like a great thing that the REDI committee, would ostensibly be a part of, right?
Well, and I think, again, depending on what happens, if I think that the REDI committee ideally should have some presence at a Juneteenth celebration.
Yeah. I agree.
So I think that would be, a really great thing to have as many of us there as possible. I also, hopefully we can get some other, people from within the Ridgeville boundaries that want to come help us too. This is part of the reason why I wanted to have this conversation early. Hopefully we can pull, maybe people who are not necessarily involved with the park district are ready to help us, put something together.
Natalie, do you hear my dog barking because your dog barked?
Oh no.
Be quiet.
She's barking at the downstairs dog.
Sorry, JC, to interrupt you. That was so funny.
No worries. It's like in Lady and the Tramp, right? Like soon my dog will be barking because they can all hear each other.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was like asleep on the couch, and he's like, "What? There's a dog in here?"
Well, in your house too, right? That's very concerning. Okay, I mean, I don't know that we really have too much more of a discussion to have about a Juneteenth acknowledgement at this point. I think partnering, reaching out to people, Natalie, any place that you see appropriate, I will do whatever I can to make myself available.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
let me work on that between now and the next meeting. And I'll
Awesome.
report back.
I just want to say one other thing, which is that I'm itching to see the REDI committee help facilitate more opportunities for direct engagement with the community. And I think that the pandemic has gotten in our way big time. Trying to set up working with a new consultant has a lot of things on hold. And I'm nonetheless itching for that. When we talked with Dr. Effiam about town hall meetings before the pandemic hit, I was just looking forward to engaging with our community about all of these issues, instead of just us getting together, which is great, but this is supposed to be where it starts and not where it ends. So I just want to put it out there, even though this is very vague, that if whatever it is that we might do independently or in conjunction with other organizations, might be a way that we put it out to the community that they just engage alongside us, or that there would maybe be some sort of a brainstorming event that people could come to and speak up for what they think is important, what they want to see, events that they would attend. I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking out loud here, but and if we partner with other people, maybe it's as simple as we're just helping to get the word out for that event that's already going on, and we're reaching out to our network and just simply saying, hey, come to this. But Juneteenth might be an opportunity to when you ask if we're, Natalie, if we're as individual committee members like willing to jump in and help plan and coordinate and this and that, and I don't mean to say that we're going to put it out to the community in the same way that we're putting it out to ourselves, because I think we have to be kind of intentional about the ways in which we ask the community to get involved. But anyway, I think I've made my point, which again is very vague. It's just like we can cross that bridge when we come to it and see if and how we engage with the community.
I think the reason I'm asking too, and just to be totally transparent, is I guess I'm asking more, is this a new event that Natalie's taking on as program director, or is this an event that we're taking on as a REDI committee? So I'm wondering how much, because to be honest with you, that will gauge how much I'm able to put into this. So especially because of the time of the year that it falls into. So if it's something that I'm going to have full committee support on, we'll be able to do more and engage more. If it's something that I'm, and if we say that the REDI committee is going to have a presence, does that mean Natalie's going to have a table there, or does that mean the REDI committee is going to come? So just things to think about. And I don't expect anybody to have an answer to that right now, but just as we talk about this kind of stuff, and this event in particular, because it's, we're going to be working on it for this year, just something to keep in mind.
Well, and to that point, I appreciate you getting specific. I knew that's what you meant, but I think it's important to be explicit. I want to say that because of the Open Meetings Act, we do have to communicate per those rules. And so the more organized we can all be in these meetings about what delegations might be taking place in terms of so-and-so you do this, so-and-so you do this. If we can communicate all as a group and hash that all out, then on our own, in compliance with OMA, we can execute all of that better, and it'll be here before you know it. So it's just sort of like a reminder that we should really kind of be on top of it and hopefully be working with a consultant on this as well. But I'm glad we're meeting tonight. I'm glad we're not letting things get even further delayed than they already have been. And I think that actually given that we have no consultant at the moment, partnering with other organizations is all the more the right thing to do this time around, and perhaps always. But
yeah, I agree.
I'm happy to hear the world won't be frozen for forever, right? Soon it will be at some point, and we'll be like, where did it go? Okay, I think that all sounds fantastic. And Natalie, I also really appreciate you being very, very clear in terms of what your expectations are, because the other things that I want to make sure doesn't happen is that we bite off more that we can chew and we don't do a good job at this.
Yeah.
I think this is really important that we do a good job, and I don't want to plan too big and then not have things work out because we don't have the people power behind us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I'll write those emails and I will check back. JC, do you want me to copy you on them?
Yeah,
Okay.
please. Thank you.
Cool.
Okay, on that note, I move to go into executive session.
I will second that motion.
Julie, if you could please
Alright.
roll call us.
Yep, Martha,
Yes.
Elaine,
Yes.
JC,
Yes.
Natalie.
Yes. 8:58
JC,
PM
you,
for the
It is
recording.
8:58 PM. Thank you so much. Does anybody have anything for call of the committee?
No, thank you.
Okay, I just have one quick thing. I sent this to Natalie already, so it's posted on the Facebook page. District 65 is hosting the MLK Dream Drive. It's going to be this Saturday, January 22nd. King Arts did it last year, so my kids and I went. It was a really, really neat experience where we literally drove around in our car and learned about different places around Evanston that have a connection to either social justice or to MLK. And it was fascinating. And I think everybody should do it. That being
Do
said,
they
I'm
give
getting,
you a map or is it like a motorcade type situation or how does it work?
because the district is doing it this year, I don't know exactly if they're doing it exactly like King Arts did last year. It's a guided audio tour and car parade through Evanston, exploring the history and relevance of various locations to Dr. Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement. It's free and open to the public, with any much appreciated donations going to the PTA Equity Project. For anyone who doesn't know, the District 65 has a new committee, PEP, the PTA Equity Project, where they are trying to even the playing field between all the schools. Since some schools had a lot more money to use for PTA than other schools, they're trying to even that out. It's going to start at 12 PM on Saturday, January 22nd from the Joseph E. Hill parking lot, with car decorating and other activities. I will say I'm not for sure that my family's going to be there. I'm getting my booster on Friday and I do not manage the COVID vaccines well. I'm guessing I'm going to be down for the count both Saturday and Sunday. If I'm lucky, it'll be just those 2 days. But I really do highly recommend it. It was a really, really eye-opening experience. These places that we drive by on a regular basis, that their significance to me. I've been living in Evanston for a while. I'm not a native, but I've been here a while, and it was really great.
That's cool.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you. And I did
Thank
put
you.
it on our social media page.
Awesome.
Cool.
Okay, unless anyone else has anything to say, I move to adjourn.
I second.
I'll roll call Natalie Salee,
Yes.
Martha Gaines,
Yes.
Elaine Siegel,
Yes.
JC Herman, yes. Thank you.
It's 9:01 PM.
9:01 PM.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.